Good afternoon, everyone. You, like you just hear me said, are currently listening to WRFW River Falls, the pulse of the campus community, and welcome to the very first installment of the Chancellor Hour. I'm here with John. John,
Good afternoon.
how are you doing today?
I'm fabulous.
Good to hear. It's a little chilly up here in the good
Yeah,
River Falls, but awesome. So we're just going to be kicking off this first installment with we want to really introduce you guys to what we're here to do and, you know, who we're here with John. So I've just got some questions for you here.
Great.
And yeah, so who are you?
Yeah.
Basically, if you want to, you know, where are you from, what's your background,
Sure.
all that good stuff.
Sure, yep. John Chenoweth, been here as the interim chancellor since March 1st of last year. Came after 23 years at the UW Whitewater. So my background, academically, I went to Augustana University, Augustana College at the time in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, to earn a bachelor's degree in computer science. Went on for a master's degree in computer science, and then off to teach at East Tennessee State University in Johnson City, Tennessee, where I was teaching computer science. Was there for 9 years, wrapped up a EDD program, a doctoral program there as well, and then up to Wisconsin to start my career here in IT, web design, computer programming, networking, all sorts of things IT. And along the way, I became chair of the academic department I was in, an associate dean of the business school at UW Whitewater, provost, a little stint as an interim chancellor there as well, and then came up here about a year ago. Yep.
That's lovely and extensive, I would say. Are you liking that transition from Whitewater to River Falls? Is it any noticeable differences for you being from there to here?
I think it's a UW system school, so that's, you know, in some ways that's made the transition fairly easy. The financial system, our rules or policies are similar across both institutions. Similar types of program. Obviously, we have the large ag program here that's different than UW Whitewater, but otherwise the array of academic programs is the same. Similar sized communities. Both Whitewater and River Falls have about 15,000-ish people in them. Obviously, UW River Falls is a little bit smaller as a campus. Well, in terms of a student population, probably campus physical size is about the same. But yeah, so the transition, from that aspect has been much more easy and simple than if it was coming from sort of outside of a UW system school. So pretty easy to step in and manage. And again, I've done the role at UW Whitewater as an interim chancellor, so that part was easy. Obviously, we're different here, right? So, understanding the academic programs and the uniqueness, what it means when it's a little bit smaller institution in terms of shared governance and how that works on a campus is different from each institution. Rules and policies and a few less bodies around to and every unit's a little smaller than it was at Whitewater. So just working through that transition. But everyone, of course, here has been fabulous and just really enjoyed the ride so far.
That's good. Yeah, I mean, we're so excited to have you as part of the Falcon family. I'm glad you're enjoying it here so far. I guess stepping outside of the UWRF, the school stuff a little bit. What's your life like outside of your job, outside of campus now, especially moving up here, being in River Falls? What is that? You got hobbies? Anything you like to do?
Yeah, sure. Yep. So I like to play sports. I like to watch sports. And really to be involved across the campus. I don't say that just as chancellor. Just I like to be involved in the activities of the campus and the community. So getting out to our student shows and concerts and athletic events. That consumes a lot of time, but I really enjoy it. And then hobbies-wise, I love to play sports. So if I can get out and play volleyball, a little cold for tennis right now. I love to play soccer. So any sporting activity, and then it's really nice being up here with all the state parks. Lots of activities, lots of outside activities. I do a little bit of mountain bike riding, and so there's a lot of mountain biking around here as well as road biking I can do. So yeah, it's been great.
That's awesome. Yeah, I was gonna say you must have been thrilled with our recent football run then.
Oh my gosh, fabulous! Yeah, I really enjoyed that. Yeah,
it's super exciting. Yeah, no, at least when I was coming here as a student, the athletics is something that really drew me here as well, and how much of a, like I said, like a campus community it is, and it's intertwined with our athletics. And we just have so much passion here. So
Yeah, and I think it's so, we just had an open meeting, and we talked about, we actually had our two recent national champion head coaches there to talk to us a little bit. And, one of the slides that we showed folks was that across the two most recent national championships, our students that were on those teams came from 40 unique different majors on campus, right? So there's that whole athletic excitement side of it, but the reality is there's students from all across campus in all sorts of disciplines, and so lots of people know people that are on those teams, right? And just been a fabulous run, yeah. So really exciting.
yeah, that's awesome. And I think as a student, it inspires you that you don't have to be a certain way, do a certain thing, look a certain way to be able to thrive in all the different things that we offer here. It's really open to whoever. If you want to try something out, you don't have to be afraid.
Yeah, and I think it's a good example too, right? I mean, obviously these are, national championships in these sports are much more visible than some of the other work that we do. But I think it's easy to translate that to, whether it's our student organizations, student clubs, students doing undergraduate research. And I think it raises the visibility of all those, as well as to kind of see the level at which River Falls excels kind of across the board, right? So these are clear markers that everyone can see. And there's a reality. They're probably going to get talked a little bit more out in the public than some of the other things that we do, but they're really just great examples that show the quality of our work and the quality of our students across the board, whether they're competing on the field or the ice or in the classroom.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I agree. So I guess then switching a little bit back. So I was hoping, so I think as a student, sometimes when we, hear names of people who are, maybe higher up in campus, we possibly don't understand, what that means or how that impacts us. So I guess it's going to seem a little rudimentary basic. If you want to explain, what is your official title here?
Sure.
What are, your main responsibilities? What does your job look like for you?
Sure, yep. Yeah, so the chancellor role on a campus is in other systems or on other college campuses, they'd be called the president. Within UW system, our heads of our campuses are called chancellors, and the head of the system is called the president. In other systems, it's the reverse, so there's no magic words for the why the language is what it is. But so at the end of the day, all of our employees, at some point report up through me, and then I report to the system president. And so, I oversee individuals that oversee our student affairs area. So, for the most part, that's dealing with all of the student activities outside of the classroom. The academic affairs side of the house, which deals with anything the students are doing inside the classroom, as well as all of our faculty, instructional staff, folks that are connected to that side of the house. Our athletics program as well, finance and administration to make sure we keep the lights on, keep our folks safe, et cetera. And so, again, kind of all the units across the campus. I meet regularly with the system president, hired by the Board of Regents. And so, I oversee all that. The reality is, of course, then that means that, most of that day-to-day work is being done by others. But, the strategic direction of the institution, obviously supported by everyone, but have a part to play in that. And, the big challenges that the institution faces, right, kind of flow through the chancellor's office as well. And when folks are asking questions of the institution, they're often asking them of the chancellor, right? And then, a bit of the public persona for the institution, right? So as we engage with the city, the community, our legislators, et cetera, right? That not that others aren't involved in that work, but the reality is oftentimes that's coming through me or my office. Yep.
Right. Big responsibilities, I would say.
Yeah, it keeps me busy.
I can imagine. And then, so I know you also have unique opportunities to interact with like student bodies, like our student government. And I know you have some students that work directly with you. What's that relationship like? How are you able to like really connect with those students in those separate ways?
Sure. Yep. So I engage with each of our governance groups. So we have 4 governance groups on campus. And one of those is student government. So I meet with our student government president on a monthly basis individually, and then also on a monthly basis with our other governance group leaders. So in fact, today was was a senior leadership team and governance meeting. So each of the 4 governance leaders, as well as then the senior leadership team on campus, which is our vice chancellors and assistant chancellors and myself, meet to go over agenda items that they submit. And so that's kind of the formal engagement with students and student government. And then I have a separate organization that other people manage, but it's called the Chancellor Student Ambassadors. And they're really, for the most part, I would say, to represent the institution. There's a few chancellor level events that we pull them into. They engage quite a bit with our alumni when we're bringing alumni onto campus and supporting other needs on campus. And then obviously, we're trying to find as many ways as possible and times as possible to engage with students across the board. And, typically that's just a conversation in the UC, right? So getting out into spaces where our students are, or if we see them in town, having conversations with them in there, because, you sort of can't do that work enough. We're a large organization, and so we have students on campus who, we'd like them to be engaged through the student government organization to articulate their concerns, but the reality is that, we're just a large organization, large, complex, many needs from many people. And so it's just good for us to, stay engaged. And, so I say us because it's not just me, it's across the board, having folks engaged in funneling those ideas, questions, concerns up through the chancellor's office when needed. Most of our issues, I would say, don't actually get to the chancellor's office because we got all sorts of other people involved helping everyone out. But at the end of the day, if it's a larger issue, or again, not necessarily an issue or a concern, but just the where we're headed as an institution, then that's eventually flowing up into my space.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, visibility you even mentioned how much you enjoy going to events hosted by, campus, going to our spring events. And, when we were talking about doing the Chancellor Hour, one thing was, even myself as a student before, I think we officially connected. I saw you down in the dining hall during events and that kind of stuff. So really being able to connect, your voice, your face to the name and the title, I think is super important. And, I'm glad that we're able to get that opportunity and continue being able to, connect with the student body.
Yeah, I think it's good. The reality is that the chancellor's office, our staff, we're all very busy. Our students are all very busy, right? So we're not going to have lots and lots of opportunities. So the key there as well is, right, so I'm out in the dining halls at a sporting event where there's students, not even necessarily athletes, because when I'm at a sporting event, I'm not engaging with the student athletes. It's the other students that are in that space. And even if it's just saying hi and how you doing, right, that's a helpful process in case we do have issues we need to address in the future, right? Just gets us all more in relationship with one another so we can tackle the issues we need to tackle.
Mm-hmm. And I think also as a student, it helps us, I don't want to say helps remind us, but that, above our professors, we're still humans too.
Yep.
And, we can connect with these people on a human level. It's not just, an email that you're typing in and, you see their profile picture pop up or anything. I absolutely agree with that. So if this might be hard, had to choose one favorite thing about either River Falls as a community or the school, what would you say?
It's probably the same answer for both. I think it's the people, right? Not that other places I've been haven't had people that are friendly, but I think we are a small enough community here that we have to care for one another, right? So people, if we're not going to be friendly with one another and care for each other, then we're really in trouble, right? And so I think that you see that when you walk across campus. People, whether they're even engaged with me, just that they're engaged with one another, right? And so I think that, people do actually care about one another here. And so, that's good to see. And I think that extends in the community. One of the things that I think is interesting about River Falls that not everyone sees if they haven't been in other spaces is how much the community and our students and our employees sort of cross paths all the time. In good and positive ways. I think you saw that in some of the stories that came out around the national championship and where our students are and how much support we had from the community. That's not just because we were winning a national championship. It's because they felt that they were part of that national championship and should feel like it because we're engaged all the time, not just when something good is happening and not just when something bad is happening, but sort of all the time. And so I think that is unique experience you can create when you're in a community of this size where we're just naturally going to run into one another.
Absolutely. It's that lovely little, small town Midwest feel that you get injected into the campus and in the community.
Yeah, I think it's also, to some extent, so I come from a town that had about 1,600 people in it. I came from a really, really small town, which also has its just, advantages, but we're also big enough here, right, that people with unique and interests can find community, right? And so sometimes in a too small of a community, you sort of can't do that, right? You're the only person who has an interest in X, right? Or a really small group. Here we're large enough that, again, not only from within our students, but our students that have interests can find community members that have those same interests, right? And so yeah, it's a unique, not every school is like this.
Absolutely. And as a student, I can speak to that I think the learning and the experiences are individualized enough where, I know all my professors. I feel like most of my it's been the first couple of days, so they're still learning names,
yep.
But, everyone's able to kind of learn your name and learn your face. And no, I agree. It's valuable. That's something that we have here. So, okay. I guess my big round off question
Sure.
for you. So whether this means after, this role or after eventually exiting whatever role you hold in higher ed, in however many years that is, what do you want to be able to look back on and feel the most proud of?
Well, that's a really good question. I do think, I think everyone in positions like mine likes to, at whatever point we exit the institution, to believe that the institution's in a better place than it was when we arrived, regardless as to whether the institute was already exceptional when we got here. We'd like to believe we have some impact. So I think there's sort of the large scale impact, but then I think also for me, right, that while I'm not going to have a personal impact on every single student or employee that walks through the institution, right, I'd like to believe there's at least a subset that I'm going to have that engagement with, because other employees or other students are going to have engagements with other, students and employees. And so, yeah, there's sort of the big picture level, and then there's kind of the personal level to that as well.
I like that. I think that's a good overarching goal to have as well. Wonderful. Well, I would like to thank you for coming on this very first episode with us, John.
Yeah, well, I want to thank everyone for listening to this installment of the Chancellor Hour. You can tune in live on the fourth Tuesday of every month at 3 p.m. Central Time at WRFW887.com under the Listen Live tab. A full-length recording of each episode will be available the following Thursday on our YouTube channel at UW River Falls. If you have any questions or you'd like to submit topics for discussion, please visit uwrf.edu under the Chancellor Hour and fill out our anonymous form. Together, we're limitless. This has been John Chenoweth with the Chancellor Hour. Have a great rest of your evening.